Who's ready to have 9.5 minutes of their one and only life wasted? I know I am. Look at that, the Neo flippin' Geo. And what better way to waste our time than to go bowling? Hey cousin, let's go bowling. Haha, funniest joke of 2008. Yeah, those pins looked real freaked out at the start, huh? Doesn't it remind you of that gif that was going around 2 years ago where the bowling ball was, or I should say the CG bowling ball was doing the nasty stuff to the CG pin people? Yes, indeed, the internet was all up in arms about that. No. So anyway, this game's pretty straightforward. Just like real bowling, just throw that fucking thing down there and hope for the best. They've even got funny animations for when you miss, just like you'd see in the screen in a real bowling alley. They've even got one where your character gets thrown off of a building like Geese Howard. Neo Geo humor. So, just like in the last episode, since we're playing through the capture window here, I have to hit the button very early if I want it to line up with the middle. You gotta think 3 moves ahead, viewer. 3 moves ahead. Just think, some guy had a Neo Geo back in the day and probably paid $200 for this game. And that's not a joke, by the way. Neo Geo games were very expensive. That was nasty. Looking like Christian Bale in The Machinist. Anyway, yes, Neo Geo games were often several $100s for each individual game. Just by design, because each cartridge was basically like a mini arcade cabinet in itself. And this issue later led to the creation of the Neo Geo CD, which really wasn't an enhancement to the hardware per se, it was just putting regular Neo Geo games on discs so that they could be less expensive to produce. Ah, the rich history of gaming. I'm gonna get it. Fuck. Isn't it unusual how they dedicated the entire right half of the screen just for instructions? Damn it, it's always that last one. But anyway, yeah, all that screen real estate just to explain to you, the foolish viewer, how to play the game. I feel like there's potential for some funny Let's Player editing. Yeah, that was definitely the funniest edit I've ever seen. It's like something you'd see in like an early 90s hip-hop video when editing softwares were new and they'd just randomly throw After Effects onto the video. It's that sort of thing, just edits for the sake of edits. Speaking of early 90s hip-hop music video, I've been getting addicted to a certain song I heard the other day. It's the Humpty Dance by Digital Underground. Do the Humpty Hump, or do the Humpty Hump. Watch me do the Humpty Hump. Anyway, we won, I guess. There was nobody else on the podium. So, let's switch over to a different game now. If you've ever gone on the big emulator push, let's call it, where you try to play as many retro games as you possibly can, you might have run into this one, because this one comes up on Hidden Gems lists often. It's Battle Garega. I'd like to think this game was originally supposed to be called Battle Greg, and they translated the Japanese wrong. A Battle Greg. Christ on a bike. So, it's pretty standard here. Just shoot the guy, dodge the stuff. You could make 20,000 games based on this exact concept. And that's exactly what companies did. One could surmise that shmups are relatively easy to program compared to other genres, just based on the simple fact that there's so many of them. I mean, with all the programming I did in college, we never did any game stuff, but just looking at this with the knowledge that I have, it seems like something that, would take less effort than a fighting game per se. But what do I know? I'm just some silly old fool. What hit me a second ago, by the way? It just seemed to come out of nowhere. Am I gonna turn into a low effort AVGN parody now? That's his thing. That is his thing. By chance, has anybody else stumbled across that weird AVGN hate subreddit that's been going around the past couple of months? I found that recently, and it's almost cult-like. They've got their own inside jokes and everything, and apparently AVGN did something weird at 5 minutes and 40 seconds in a video, so now that's the inside joke amongst the hate subreddit is 540, 540. I can't actually figure out what the joke is. Nobody's willing to explain it. They're just shouting their inside jokes at each other constantly, but I guess every subreddit is like that. In a sense, that's just a natural byproduct of having a closed community, as it were. You could argue there's some political subreddits out there that also do that. So, by the way, one of the quirks of this game is the number of missiles you've collected at the bottom of the screen. That determines how many missiles come out during your specials, so the longer you hold out, the better it's going to be, dear viewer. You can just totally lay waste. You can do your impression of insert edgy joke here and just totally lay waste. You may have noticed that the aspect ratio for this game is slightly funny, by the way. That's how you know it's an authentic arcade conversion. Real deal over here. I'm assuming the Saturn version was the same way. Typically, console ports of arcade games would try to keep that same aspect ratio for authenticity's sake. I know at least a few PS1 shmups did that. Talk about different times. I don't think they do that nowadays. Just doesn't really seem like something they would do to just have 2/3 of the screen be totally black in a modern game. Well, maybe they would, I don't know. Reminds me of once I was trying to explain the concept of, aspect ratios to my mom, because one of her old shows from the 50s was, still in 4:3 in a modern TV, and I didn't get too far, and she was saying, well, we're losing the picture, and that's not how TVs work. The image doesn't gradually get smaller over time as the TV wears out. How could you even think such a thing? I have no idea what the majority of these power-ups even do. Very little research was done before I started filming this. I just faintly recognized the name and away we went. Sometimes you don't need all the information, you just gotta start going out there and just using your natural talents to the best of your ability and hoping it all works out. As the Germans say, der Ball ist rund und das Spiel dauert 90 Minuten. That's the second time that's come up on this channel. Look at me, I'm just a man of the world over here. Okay, I very clearly suck at this game, so I guess we'll call it.